Hello and welcome back to Cymatic TV for another energy update going from the 30th, well the 29th really today, from the 29th through to the 5th of November. And although the sun's not doing a great deal at the moment in this week here, there is a reason behind that possibly, and that's what's coming up later on in the week. And we're going to be looking at that the planetary alignments in accordance to 3i Atlas, and it seems to me to be like the most evident message that's coming out of 3i Atlas that's very pragmatic and spiritually empowering as well. And that's according to a lot of the alignments that we got in the planets at the moment, but we will go into that a little bit later on. First things first though, let's just quickly go over the sun and see what's been going on with the sun. As you can well see here, just before you here on the, you've got the X-ray flux, and you can see how it's just gradually sort of working its way down and calming down totally. There hasn't been a great deal of eruptions. There has been coronal holes that have been coming through. And on those coronal holes, it's done a little bit of a adjustment on the magnetic field of the Earth, which you can see in this section here. Not major, to be honest, but the coronal hole was sort of fragmented to a certain extent. And so the Earth energy that's been coming through this week has been fragmented, but you'll see a little bit later on, it's in the form of a triangle as well. And we see that quite a lot with coronal holes. And it is about sort of building or constructing the Earth energy. And you may have felt this week here that it was at times a lot easier to get on, and at other times a little bit emotionally charged, as it were, from all of this week. Flushing out the last bits of emotions of getting our visions into alignment. If you've ever seen the messages from energy on the Astroflower, we will be doing the messages from energy tonight live at 9:30 UK time. So if you want to be part of that and ask questions, come and join us over on the Astroflower. It will be linked around my head at some given point. Okay, so the Earth's energy hasn't really been sort of like tested in a certain extent. There's been a little bit that's been going on with the earthquakes. But in the meantime, let's just get on to seeing what's actually been going on at the sun. So let's just bring up the sun here. Here we go. We've got the sun here. You can see this coronal hole that I'm talking about in a triangular sort of fashion. It goes right up through the equator of the sun. And there's these two sort of sunspots going on as well, but they're not really producing anything, because mainly it's been producing behind the sun in the direction of 3i Atlas, is what I've been talking about over the last 15 days. Now that sort of sunspots are starting to come into view, and they're starting to come, you can see them coming through the eastern part of the limb of the sun. So that means I think the sun may well be kicking off in the direction of the Earth on around about the 3rd and the 4th of November. Now that's very particular actually. When we look at the alignments of what's going on, it's incredibly particular in regards to 3i Atlas and also the planetary alignments. It makes for a real potent and pertinent message that's coming through the energy at the moment, and we'll see that on the messages from energy on the live as well. Okay, so there has been actually some eruptions here, and it's been mainly filament eruptions. So this is what I'd like to bring you on to here. So let's just let me just find out where there it is there. Okay, so here we go with the sun here. So just taking her back a bit here, if we go right back a little bit here, you can see just before now, you might have seen it on the sun on the other image earlier on, and we're looking around this sort of section here really more than anything else. There we go, we get an eruption of the flare in that section there, if you can well see, filament, sorry, filament energy that erupted off in that direction there. You can see it's just above here. Here it goes. It's eruption just there. It is there. That's where it is hidden there. So you can see it just sort of like coming off the surface of the sun at that moment. It seemed to be very small and not very, it's certainly not directed in the Earth's sort of direction, but there is a bigger eruption that comes off of it, which feeds this sort of flare, this sort of filament energy that's coming off the top of that coronal hole, that triangular coronal hole, and those two suns. So going through the Earth, sunspot, sorry, going through Earth energy, it's converted by the fire into this emotional energy that also comes off the sun that you'll see here, just happening round about now with the eruption. There it is there. You can just see it just happening just in this sort of section here. There it is. You can see that shadow there that comes off. And that's not really going to hit the Earth in any sort of particular way. There is a sort of little flare just before that we can see with the sunspot in this area here. It does flash after the eruption of the first filament. There's the first filament there, the eruption of the first filament. And as it does, it creates a little bit of a flash within that sunspot. There it is there. There's a flash there. And as that then flash, then that feeds into that fire, feeds into that filament energy that's ripping off the sun at the moment there. So we've been having this sort of very calm sun, really, more than anything else. But also at the same time, with the calm sun, we've been having sort of spits of emotions that sort of go on around us, really, more than anything else, rather than hitting directly the Earth. So it's creating an emotion through mental stimulation more than anything else, because it's creating that wind energy as well at the same time. Yeah, it's quite a phenomenon that's been going on. But there has also been some other eruptions. Let me just take you through what's been going on around the sun, as it were. This is the LASCO satellite, and you can see that there's quite a few eruptions that's going on around the sun. A lot of the eruptions are going out the back towards 3i Atlas, where we'll look at that in a minute in accordance to the planetary alignments. But there is a massive one that comes off right at the end of this cycle that came off today on the 29th. And let's have a look at that in closer detail, because it seems to be quite big. I haven't really seen anything or anyone really talking about it at the moment. So let me just pull up what I'm talking about here. Here we go. This is the LASCO satellite. So let's just see that eruption as there it is there. It's just coming off. It's coming off on the 29th this morning, UK time. So in the middle of the night, UK time. And we can see that eruption. That eruption is really quite big. It looks like almost like, if I take it back to there, it almost feels like that Gotham is calling Batman. It seems like that sort of way. And there's a big eruption that goes off to the northeast of the sun. We'll have to see whether that's actually coming in our direction. I haven't seen anything on the X-ray flux, so that could be something to do with a filament eruption that's happening out the back, or a solar flare that's happening out the back that just didn't register on the front side, as it were. But that big eruption could also be seen within the other satellite, the other LASCO satellite, which is much further, just much further away. And we can see it in this section here. You can see this eruption that comes off. This is later on, as it were. We can see the eruption just coming off now as it comes off. Here it is, here, there it is there. And it is reasonably quite big. If you look at the Earth, which is up there, it doesn't even register on this as a dot. It doesn't even register as a dot. So it's about sort of, I don't know, maybe 1,000,000 times the size of the Earth, possibly, and it's going off in the northeast direction as we can see it flying off at the moment. So I don't think that's actually going to be affecting us enormously. I think it's possibly a filament energy as well that's erupted in that section there, which we wouldn't see on the X-ray flux, which we looked upon earlier on. So it's all about the emotional energies at the moment. And what's been coming through with that coronal hole is a certain consistency that we get within those emotions. And I think it's a way of clearing things out. And there's a reason for clearing things out, because it's going to be clearing out for what's coming down the line. Let's just see what's led us to that sort of situation in accordance to the earthquakes that have been going on at the moment. So let's just see and how that plays into our chakra system. So let's just have a quick look at the earthquakes that happened today on the 29th. Here we go. We got up here. We've got, let me just bring up my camera, sorry. Yes, here we go. So, we've got these earthquakes that are happening in just north of Australia. But we've also got some that are over in North America. But these are quite small ones. They're less than 4.5, a lot of them. There's been one big one that's been down just north of Australia, in Indonesia, I think, of 6.2, which I think is the result of that coronal hole that came through. So that's that earth energy that's playing into the solar plexus, because you can see the solar plexus, which is down here in Australia. It's literally just come off the top of that solar plexus. So it's encouraging that confidence we have in order to go ahead and do. But let's just have a look and see what's happening over the past week in regards to earthquakes. Now, these are earthquakes that I've selected only 4.5 and above, so reasonably quite big. And you can see that there's a connection between the solar plexus, which is in this section here, the throat and the third eye, and there's a connection that's going between the two, the throat and the third eye and the solar plexus. And I think this is where the solar plexus is encouraging the vision to be implemented this week. And as I said, there's some emotional issues that have been coming to the surface, but they're very much mental things that we've been looking at more than anything else. But as you can see over here in the sacrum, there's not a lot going on. There's a little bit going on the root chakra down here, but really it's the go-between the two here within the Caribbean, which is playing upon the idea of going from the root chakra to the sacrum. It's almost like sort of being grounded in knowing what you're doing. That's what it seems to be sort of been coming out in regards to the earthquake energies and so forth. And this sun and what the sun's been doing over the past week or so, even 2 weeks, is really sending out a lot of messages towards Three-Eye Atlas. And there's a reason for that, because it could well be a major shift on the 3rd and 4th of November, according to the planetary alignments that we will be looking at in a moment. The planetary alignments that we can see happening in the solar system during this period here. But even on the 29th, it seems to start on the 29th. So let's go into that Three-Eye Atlas message. As you can see here on this map here, as you can see, this is a map of the solar system. As you can see, the date here at the moment is the 29th of October. And one thing I'd like you to notice straight away is that alignment between Atlas, Three-Eye Atlas, Mercury, Saturn, and Neptune. And this alignment that's going on between the three here is all about, it governs, you've got Saturn in the middle that's governing the structure and the discipline, and the limitations and responsibility of the message that Three-Eye Atlas is bringing us through Mercury into our solar system. And we at the end there we have Neptune, which is linked to spirituality, dreams, and imagination and idealism. So basically, what it seems to be doing here, first of all, just on this first sort of alignment, is this idea of bringing a message of structure to spiritualism. And this could well be a lot to do with the way in which we perceive energy, in the way in which we read energy, and so forth. So that's the first alignment. Now that's on today, as I said. And the other alignments, which were quite interesting as well, you get alignments here that's nearly coming in where you get the same message which comes from Mercury, Earth and Venus. So we've got that message from Mercury. Obviously we've got Earth, it's planet Earth, and the Earth energy, and it's life. It's giving a life message to the Earth. And we have Uranus, which signifies innovation, revolution and individuality. And I think this is where we can also think that this message that is being brought to us at the moment in regards to the 3i Atlas brings in an idea of that sort of personal innovation that we do on our personal path, and how we invest our visions, or how we activate our visions, our inner visions of what we should be living at the moment. And that's what it's trying to do, I think, on a general message across the earth at the moment. But if we go back again to the alignments, on the same day, still on the same day here, the other alignment you get here is that one there. Jupiter, Venus and Mars. Now this is still on the 29th, as I say, and the Sun is pushing that energy out through Venus towards 3i Atlas. And I think here is where we got with Jupiter. Jupiter associated with expansion, luck, prosperity and wisdom, and you got Mars as well, which has got that determination, activation and so forth. And I think it's activating that sort of, I think the Sun, when I did a remote viewing on the Sun, on remote viewing on 3i Atlas on the Astroflower, I'll link it about my head as well, if you want to go and see that. And I said it was, one of the things that the Sun said to me was, don't poke the bear. And I think this message that the Sun is trying to convey to 3i Atlas is, prosperity to you, luck to you on your journey through the universe, that you find your home and peace and love be with you. And it's like it's been activating that message towards 3i Atlas. And therefore, 3i Atlas could be possible giving us the message of a spiritual structure, that we're starting to see the chaff and the wheat, and we're starting to see, some things that may be presented as real, but it's actually illusionary within the spiritual realms of energy and so forth at the moment. So that's what seems to be coming on the 29th. Now let's, if we move it on a little bit and we move it on to the 3rd and 4th of November. Okay, so this is now, we're on to the 4th of November, as you can well see there with the timestamp down there. We still have this little alignment here. I think Venus has been pushed slightly out, and if you look at the curvature that goes between this alignment here, it's pretty similar to the curvature of 3i Atlas. But so I think it's pushing forward that idea of the solar system is trying to convey joy and happiness to 3i Atlas on its journey. But let's just see, we also get the alignment between Mercury, 3i Atlas and the Sun, and I think that's what that message is coming through. And with that clarity of message, you get now, hang on a second, it's really difficult to sort of do it. There it is. It's sort of, you get the alignment between Three-eye Atlas, Saturn, and Neptune. And because all the planets are all we're looking from quite far away. The other alignment as well you get is the Mercury. It's almost as if like the Sun and Three-eye Atlas are in cahoots with one another, trying to convey this message. And the Sun is allowing this to happen at the moment. And it looks like at that moment there, you're going to get a lot of sort of sun and solar flares in the direction of the Earth. I think it's going to be a lot more active. There's one other alignment that I'd like to show you on the 4th, which is quite mad, is the connection between Three-eye Atlas and Pluto and Mars. And it's as if like this is what it's Mars, Three-eye Atlas is bringing into the solar system. It's Pluto is a planet that deals with all sort of transformation, and as a Capricorn, I know all about the idea of going through that transformation over the past 20 years. But Pluto's moved from Capricorn into Aquarius, and this is, I think, it's also one of the symbols or the signs that we are moving into the age of Aquarius, or we have moved into it, and it will be creative. A spiritual revolution that's going on within the planet Earth, but within the solar system as well. I think we're going to become a lot more understanding about how a solar system works, and then therefore we might be able to give us a heightened understanding for astrology and those sort of activities. Certainly within the Astroflower, we can see that within the elements and so forth. If you want to see your weekly reading, don't forget to see us on Thursday and Friday on the Astroflower. But it's bringing in that moment in time where clarity will come to us all. And I think that's what the big message is that's coming through at the moment. So let's get back to our alignments here. So we've got that alignment there as well between Three-eye Atlas and Mars, and we've got that alignment between Venus and the Sun and Three-eye Atlas, and we've got that alignment that's between Venus, Three-eye Atlas, Saturn, and Neptune. But we also have this the alignment, between Mars, Earth, and Uranus. So I think this is how we are taking. It's now on the 3rd and 4th of November. We're getting this point where I think this is where the innovation or the realization of the situation in regards to the planetary alignments is very much on a a greater understanding and innovation. And it could well be a breakthrough because we're understanding how to apply our energy within everything that is around us and connect to everything that is around us in a different way, and understanding this in a spiritual sense, also in an astrophysics or in a scientific sense, in accordance to the Earth and how the Earth is trying to, is changing and going through all that pole shift and so forth. There is a great deal of information that I think is going to be accumulated. It's already started with the Sun sort of saying, allowing your message to come through Three-eye Atlas on the 29th, on today, and it will accumulate over this period of this week. It will digest, or it will gradually grow as an idea that will accumulate on the 4th of November. There is some other fantastic alignments that are coming up in the near future, certainly just after during the Christmas period and just after the Christmas period. We'll go into that another time. But as I was, remote viewed Three-eye Atlas about sort of 4 weeks ago now, and I said that there was memory within that rock, and that rock is bringing that memory to our system here. I was given the impression that it shouldn't be really, pushing for that to interact in a physical sense with Three-eye Atlas, and it could if you imagine you have material on 3i Atlas, which is like rock and gases and so forth, and if you have a motor, you can convert that into reality, because we're all part of the Earth. Everything that you have was originally part of the Earth. So we can convert material into living life, as it were. It could be your body as much as your iPhone, or any other telephone you've got. So the 3i Atlas could do this, but I don't think it's like a ship that's going to be putting down drones and etc. If anything, I think the sun may actually be fragmenting 3i Atlas as it goes forward, and I think over the next few days we may well notice that. I did do a video on this channel about that. It was the sun destroying 3i Atlas, and I think we're getting the answers to that now. It's unraveling the information that comes in from 3i Atlas from another part of the universe, and it's giving us another point of view of how life can be led, not necessarily in conjunction with how we live life, but it certainly gives us an idea of how we're connected to everybody and everything in regards to energy. So look out for those alignments that are coming up. And the other thing I wanted to say as well, because it's all in the timing of everything, and I think that's where the important thing is. I'll put a drawing up around my head around now, and if you look at the alignments on the 4th particularly, it looks like the Eye of Horus. So you've got one line alignment up the top, one line alignment at the bottom with the sun in the middle. 3i Atlas is out here, and then you've got the alignment with Pluto out there, and it does look a little bit like the Eye of Horus. And Horus is all about the timing of everything. And I think this is understanding comes about, yes, when we open up our consciousness and connect with everything. There's a great deal of understanding that comes into our lives. But also at the same time, it's all about the timing. And I think this is much more for the collective. Obviously, there's be individual sort of messages that come through that we will understand as individuals. But I do believe it's much more of a collective understanding that we are all one family, regardless of where you are in the world, or where you are in the world, or what your belief system is, or anything like that. At the end of the day, when everything is done, we are all living on a vessel, on a spaceship that is going round the sun as we travel around the universe, exactly like 3i Atlas. And this is the real communication of the universe. No one's going to be turning up with teleportation ships and what have you that are going to be doing this, because we're not ready to understand that. That leap in technology will be very detrimental to us at this present time. At the moment, we need to really get down and understanding our connection to energy and how it is shifting in regards to a pole shift and so forth. So there you go. Thanking you very much for being here. Hope you appreciate the energy updates that we do on this channel. We will be doing some more stuff on this channel, so make sure you're subscribed, you've clicked that bell, and you're sharing, and your comments is lovely to see as well. It really does help us out with the algorithm, and I really do thank you for that in advance. In the meantime, I will see you over on the Astroflower for the Messages from Energy live tonight. If not, for one of your readings or any of the other energy videos that we do on that channel. In the meantime, don't forget, life should be fun, so please do enjoy.